Alright. It seems like I finally tamed the dragon. And I'm not boosted anymore! So how about we do some lectures? 3 lectures in 1 March. On a sunny day, after Alex had discovered that Patriot was much friendlier than she initially looked. Kana gives at her groaning husband with a puzzled look. What are you grumbling about? Nothing, you know? Not some of stuff. Damn pipeline was really massive! Yeah, and the medicinal herbanormus we found next to it was strangely huge as well. Everything in Asimo is stupidly big! What am I supposed to do with all this corn? Alex glanced at a basket full of colossal corn kernels. Wow, they're as big as my fist! I don't even want to imagine how big the cup must have been. Yeah, that's so weird! Too bad they don't taste anything special. Maybe buying all this Asimovian corn wasn't a smart purchase. Oh well, I guess I could make a soup. Or toast them, and make cereals for breakfast. That's what was bothering you? I'm not sure why I was even worried. What if we boiled them and ate them like that? They taste sorta plain, but if you're okay with that, I've already prepared some. Alex disappeared into the kitchen and returned with a tray full of steamy corn kernels. They're so big! But they can't even fit one in her mouth! Ow! 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 Ah! Ah! I think they're delicious just like this. They taste like corn. It's nothing special. But they're so filling since they're much bigger than a normal corn kernel. Alex, Putnam wants to try them with some salt. Sure. Just don't go overboard with it. Okay. Ah! The salt helps to bring out their sweetness, Kernel! Honestly, I'm already tired of them after a single kernel. I know, right? Alex nodded at his wife in agreement. Right! I guess it does get a little boring after a while. Probably. It sounds like I want to eat another one, really. Platin is already full. Eating one kernel feels like eating a whole cup of regular corn by itself. You're right. They're not bad, but the taste is nothing special, Colonel. Want to use them to make some popcorn? What? Popcorn is made from corn? Yes. I mean, it's even in the name. Let's see. First, we should dose the kernels with a fire spell, and then Alice cast a rush of many flame arrows to quickly dry up the seeds. Ah! Maybe I can prepare the popcorn with my spells alone! Spells are really useful! Alex must be the only man in the world that uses them for cooking. Yes, casting too many would definitely make you catch the hero syndrome after all. But why are they taking so long to dry up? These kernels are just too big. Besides, you need to spread the heat evenly, and Alex continued toasting the corn with his spells. His thoughts eventually drifted back to the land that had produced the massive grains. But I have to admit, Patriot really looked like a strict girl when I first saw her at the assembly. I was a little surprised to see that she could be that approachable and friendly. Alex, it's Lady Patriot. Don't forget her position. She's my wife. Try not to disrespect her in public, or you're going to cause a mess. I wonder who is younger between her and Rona. They're both around their age, but they're the rulers of 2 enormous duchies. Being a duchess must be Very tiring. Well, it sounds like Pochui has to manage Asimov all by herself. The carrots and several other nobles actively participate in the governing to give her a hand. Same goes for me, actually. There are so many people that help me rule left hand. Right, to the point that you can travel with us without a single care in the world. Hey! I'm working hard too! Don't you see how much work I have to do whenever we come back? Actually, there's something I always wanted to ask you. Are noble titles always inherited by members of the same family when the holder dies? Yeah, that's what typically happens. But it's not unheard of for a normal person to be bestowed the rank for their achievements. I get that you think we nobles are a bunch of stick in the buds, but kinda let out a deep sigh and then laughed bitterly. We have our own share of problems as well. Most of us have received a rigorous education. Right, you get taught all kinds of things that ordinary people would never find a use for. Yeah, but some nobles end up thinking that they're better than others because of that. Kana closed her eyes and reminisced about a certain uncle who had brought nothing but misery upon her household. Cheryl is the daughter of a count, right? Yeah, and her father, Cedric Bronte, is a self-made man who rose to his position from modest origins. Right, you said that the guy is pretty amazing. He used to work in Dark City as a public servant. He went through a speedy career in no time, and he was granted the title of Count for his achievements. But he must be really busy, right? That guy had a really tired face. Yeah, nobles earn a lot of money, but they hold more responsibilities than your average person. Like, the aristocracy has the duty to protect the people living in the domain and make sure that the land prospers. Huh. Must be hard knowing that so many lives depend upon the decisions you make. I get it. You all have your fair share of problems to take care of. That one guy never gave me the impression of being a hard-working person, though. It's warm. Who cares? I mean, I'm sorry. I know he's your uncle, but he's a douchebag. And yeah, that's because he was a spoiled good-for-nothing. I'm sure that the Duchies would have been determined to dispose him if he had become Marquess in my place. Besides, Hiragi and the other members of Left Hand's government would never have listened to him. Yeah, that could have turned into a real mess. We're pretty lucky to have a hard-working cutie like you as our Marquess. Remarkable! Thanks! He sure threw his weight around for being someone so talented though. Sadly for him, we live in an age where the populace won't overlook even your slightest mistake. And everyone must be on edge, without these diseases going around. Yeah, being the Marquess of Left Hand isn't an easy job. We always have to deal with the annoying requests of the neighboring duchies. Huh? Are Ronan and Patriot bullying you or something? Of course not! Don't be silly. But Left Hand is still only a march. We won't be recognized as the fourth duchy until we proved our worth and prospered enough. Ooh, so you're saying there's a chance that you might become a duchess. And they are the ones who judge your progress. So we need to constantly send reports overseas. Sounds harsh. It is. And the steep decline of our birth rate is only worsening the situation. We'll need to do our best and have lots of babies then. Right, Connor? That's not what I meant! But, better not push me before the next report is due. I might end up thinking that it could be nice to make a couple early. You know, just to inflate the numbers. Now, we should all hold off with the babies for the moment. And once our trip is finally over, we will do our best to double Left Hand's birth rate, or even triple it. Platna's thinking about 300 kids! That's a lot of nuts. That sure would help with the next report. I'm not sure I can survive that! But I'll do my best. Whoops! I completely forgot about the corn. It should be ready now, let's make it pop! Yay! First, we pour some oil into this frying pan and heat it up. Then we put the toasted kernels in it and cover them with the lid. Alex moved the massive seeds into a frying pan and watched them sizzle through the transparent lid. That's it? Yep, we should be hearing the pop any time now. Corn's ready! The seed suddenly burst open, shipping from the pan and flying all over the kitchen. What was that? Huh? Right. I didn't think about that. Of course it did push the lid up and they pop. Let's give it another try! Plunk, plunk, plunk. Alex poured out the remaining kernels into an even bigger pan. That's way too many! Are you trying to blow up the whole house? No worries, just trust me this one. Alex covered the seeds with another transparent lid and gently moved the pan over the fire. Anyway, the ducal assembly sure was something. Still thinking about the fight between Patriot and Spartan? Not really bickering that much. Asimov and Clark have always been better rivals. Honestly, do have been stranger if nothing happened. But yeah, it's concerning to see that the two Duchies still can't get along. Nah, I was talking about that. Huh? I was just thinking, that is a spot to share two real knockouts! I was expecting to see two old ladies, not two beautiful girls like them. This guy! Are you seriously telling me that you burned nervous and all but they started go get each other's throats? Even I was getting pretty worried, you know? Nah, Rona was right there after all. Good point. She sure is something. Not only does she keep the other Duchies in check, she also rules over Heinlein without any help. Herod's is more of a totalitarian regime. She seized all power from the old Heinleinian nobles several years ago. And let's not forget that she restructured the continent's whole economy in less than a decade. It's only thanks to her that Heinlein could become such a famous tourist resort. She must be a real force to be reckoned with if even you are praising her. I told you, she's on an entirely different level. I can't even compare. It's no surprise that Left Hand's younger generations are emigrating to Heinlein. It must be nice living somewhere close to that beautiful sea. Actually, speaking of that, we should take a holiday in Heinlein once things have calmed down. I'm sure that the girls in bikinis will finally be back. You sure you have your priorities set straight? Then you dress up in a bikini! All 4 of you! And then some more! Like Zero. Unfufu! He just can't stop worrying about the health of the people around him, even while on holiday. Popcorn's ready for real! Ah! The pan's getting really loud! Platna watched her husband press both hands on the lid covering the exploding corn. Jesus Christ! Is making popcorn always such a noisy process? No. A nuclear war usually never happens when someone makes popcorn. No. No. I'm pretty sure that regular corn isn't this loud. Good thing I screwed the lid in the pan. Oh hey, the noise is over. It should be ready. Would you look at that? It came out just perfect. Alex took off the cover and stared at the white popcorn steaming from inside the pan. Wowie! It smells so good! It's making me a little hungry, like Scoob! I don't know why, but I suddenly feel like watching a movie. Is it okay to eat already? Nope! And that's because I still have to pour a bunch of caramel over it. Ooh, caramel popcorn. Caramel popcorn! That sounds like simply delicious. Ugh, I can smell how sweet they are from here. And it's ready! Can you call Zero? It's finally snack time. Yay! Lenny's gonna be back in a second! Alex and his wife spent a relaxing afternoon of eating sweet popcorn while watching a movie. Sorry, what were we talking about? Don't know. Forget about it. It's popcorn time. It's so crunchy and sweet. I can't get enough. Oh well, as long as they're happy. And then we did the ancient pyramids. Actually, we're about to do it. Let's do it. On a warm day, after Charlotte had joined Alex's family and Amelie had been adequately punished. Ow! 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 It hurts! It still hurts! My kitty! My poor kitty! The younger of the two brother sisters was pressing her belly with both hands while rolling on the sofa. Oh, come on, it's just a feeling. You're completely fine. I even used medic on you. It still freaking feels like you're inside me, okay? Maybe your kitty is trying to tell you that she's lonely because he's not inside you anymore? You've heard the lady, Alex. Feel free to pounce on her. That's not it! What am I, his cock slave or something? Why, yes, exactly that. But that's not sure what that means. But you sure you're gonna be a nice warm cock slave? Thanks. Thanks. The blonde girl jumped on Amelia and grabbed her breasts with both hands. Amelia's so squishy and soft. Stop! Stop! Stop grabbing my tits! I can't believe I gave you there, Platna. Amelia's soft body is just the best. Yeah, let me join you. Stop! Stop grabbing me! Ugh! What's with this pyramid you're building in your pants? Oh, so we're not gonna be talking about the pyramid in this moment, the pyramid in here. Okay, I get where this is going. Huh? What? Did I freaking stutter? No. It's just, I've never heard that expression before. People usually call it pitching a tent. But building a pyramid, huh? Is it an Asimovian expression or something? Hmm? Pretty much. We tend to call any kind of pointy shape a pyramid. Oh, the croissants for sale in White City were all pyramid-shaped. Haha, remember how Charles used to call cones pyramids in geometry class at the academy? Hey! It's not my fault their culture was so influenced by the massive pyramid we have in southern Asimov. I mean, you can even see it from White City on sunny days. Learning what it was used for was a little depressing. But, yeah, but a spiritual sure was something. Anyway, this is a nice coincidence, but I made you some chocolate creams today! Wrapped up like this, they sort of look like a pyramid. Alex stepped into the living room with a tray full of creams folded into triangular shapes. Can I have some, please? Can a narrator of this game have some, please? I mean, he sucks at the commentary part, but can I have some, please? Wowie! They look so delicious! That's... I want one with a strawberry on top. There are so many! Did you buy them from the Timmins Cafe in Acre Harbor? Nope! I made them myself. No way! Okay, I have to admit it. You're pretty good at cooking. They're so soft and sweet. Thanks. I'll prepare some coffee and tea for everyone. Kana, what would you like today? A cappuccino, please. Alex's wife assembled in the living room to have a snack together. They sure had a crazy adventure in such asthma experiment. Outside it was really hot, but inside it was so cool. And the interior was huge. It took us forever to find a way outside. We even met a real mummy. Wait, what? You serious? Yep. Yeah, it was taken inside the pyramid. It actually was pretty chatty. And it seemed to have escaped. And it sounded like... It's too hard to tell that the mummy sounded evil, honestly. Hold on. Isn't the mummy supposed to be a dried up corpse? That one could speak? Charles, is something wrong? That mummy. I've got it! Gaia fraud! The archaeologist stood up from her seat as she had an incredible realization. Ooh, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, that made no sense. That's no way a mummy should be able to talk. And we were happily chatting with her without even wondering why she could do that. Huh? Aren't mummies supposed to talk and chase you around with their arms extended forward? Are you an idiot? We're not living in a horror movie. Damn! I hate to admit it, but Amelia's reaction is the most logical one here. Maybe she wasn't a bad mummy. She helped us a lot. Yes, she had a terrible memory, but I believe she did her best to give us a hand. No, Charles' right. Something's fishy here. I remember that I was shocked that she could talk, but I forgot about it right away. Yes, I had a similar feeling. She must have done something to make us think nothing weird was going on. Like hypnosis or something like that? Who knows? She could have even used a relic from the barbaric era on us. Then that's an interesting hypothesis. A bit scary. Yeah, she could have manipulated us with an artifact from that era. The ancient relics we dig up from time to time are incredibly powerful. It makes you wonder if the end of the old civilization could have been caused by one of them. Most of the artifacts we found so far are weapons after all. The humans from the barbaric era used to kill each other on a daily basis like it was normal. It is such a terrible part of our history. Well, we have our fair share of crazed individuals as well, like X-Tab's members. Ugh, and imagine being surrounded by people like them. But that giant mecha we found, Mankaiser Blast sure is impressive. Hell yeah. It's so cool! It was all stop and then went pew pow! Not sure what you guys are talking about, but I'm sure it was something crazy. I just remembered that there was something I wanted to ask a certain someone! Charlotte suddenly stood up from her chair and inadvertently knocked it over. Zero! Zero! Where are you? I need to ask you a couple of things about the barbaric era. Oh, right. Didn't she say that she once fought a giant robot or something? The blonde dragon quickly appeared from behind the corner to peek into the living room. Ara ara! Where did all these delicious creams come from? Did you make some for me too, Harry? Hell yeah! Of course! Let me go grab them from the kitchen. Alex disappeared into the nearby room and returned with a tray full of soft crepes. This is just what I needed. I don't think there is a single woman in the world who wouldn't fall in love with your chocolate crepes. You bet! I made them myself! Happy! I think you're going to get a very special reward tonight. Yay! Goody! See the alert I had and used their nipple figures like as was So, who was calling me again? Is that true? Did you find the Mecha? Mecha? You know, a giant metal robot? We found something similar in the pyramid we explored. That big piece of junk Patna told me about. From the way she described it, I think I fought a different one. A different one? You know what that means, right? There might be another Mecha somewhere in the world! Maybe. I think it was different from the one you saw. It was more curvy and stylish. A girly version of Mecha? Wait, how was a giant robot supposed to be stylish? It must have been a completely different model. Anyway, there's a bunch of other things that I'd like to ask you about the barbaric era. I'm very sorry, sweetie. You know I can't answer them, or it could look like I'm taking humanity's side. Right, that's not a problem. I mean, I'm just talking to myself. Now, there's this exciting hypothesis I was wondering about. Feel free to give me a weird look whenever you hear something that didn't really happen, okay? I'm not sure I can. Wait, is your face awfully close? Now guess. I'm sure that's gonna make Alex happy. Charlotte and I should share next to zeros and gaze into your eyes from a hair's breadth. Wow! This is the first time I've seen Mom backing down in front of another girl. No one can keep up with Charlotte whenever she gets this excited. Hood foo foo! Miss Zero is like a living history book after all. Okay, let's start with the Genesis myths recorded in the Evenicle. But Eve created our world, and that's far back. The rest of the girls watch Zero fret under the archaeologist's assault while munching on their creeps. Fine, I'll talk, but just an easy bit, okay? The barbaric era. To put it simply, it was an age of endless wars between the human civilizations of the time. This may be surprising for you, but life back then wasn't so different. Wait, what? That can't be true! Humanity's past and future are more closely connected than you would expect. The men who so ruthlessly killed each other during that age were not so unlike today's humans. Right, we're part of the same race after all. Except for X-Type's members. They're monsters, I refuse to be grouped with them. But today's humans have nothing to do with the sins committed by our ancestors. Right, I can't imagine that any of us would enjoy seeing other people suffer. But of course, many decent humans lived during the barbaric era as well. The real problem was, they all had this kill or be killed way of thinking. And before you knew it, that attitude became more and more accepted with each passing generation. That mindset couldn't lead to a living peaceful life. Exactly! Personally, I'm glad that the world was reset once things got out of hand. Reset? Wait, are you talking about the shattering of the old world? Whoopsie! I may have said too much. Sorry, no comment. I can't add anything more than to that, or except Granny will get mad at me. Oh, I'm sure she's referring to the Queen of Dragons. You know, the legendary QD, the small stuff. Oh, I know. Abby, you should make me 1,000 more of your delicious creeps. I'll give them to her as an apology gift. I'm sure that she'll devour them in an instant and eventually die of heartburn. Oh, QD? The Queen of Dragons? Dying from a creep overdose? But one time she ate a whole gallon transporting chocolate and she survived unscathed. Maybe I could make her die of laughter? That might be why I'll be suddenly planning a way to kill QD. Mom and QD don't get along too well. I'm sure that sooner or later, you'll have the unpleasant chance to meet her. We already did. Really? Oh! I need to write down all the questions I want to ask her. There's so much stuff! I'm very sorry, sweetie. I'm pretty sure that she will refuse to answer them. Anyway, try not to get too involved with her, or I'll guarantee you'll end up in real trouble. I've explored the interior of Atsuma's pyramid, and maybe one day, I'll even meet the legendary QD! Who knows? Maybe we'll find a way to make her answer some of her questions. Little did Alex know that once the time to meet QD arrived, they would hardly have any time to chat. They were delicious! Not that their family became even bigger. Not bad. I don't have to worry about overeating anymore. The creeps were so tasty we ended up devouring them all. What's wrong, Alex? Sorry, but I made more than usual since we now have more mouths to feed. I still have 4 more trays in the kitchen! No! You didn't even realize? He kept disappearing every 3 seconds to go check on them. I took a peek and I don't think you're ever gonna manage to finish them. It's like an endless mountain of creeps. I'm done for! I'm so done for! How many do you think I ate already? Something like 20? Alex! We hereby forbid you from increasing the production of your sweets! Forbidden! Seriously? Alex ended up getting scolded again by his wives. God damn it!